Hey guys, this is Darren Benson with Performance Motorcoaches. Want to do a video of a new product we took on a while back. This is not our first Vienna, however, this is the first video of a Vienna. Our very first Vienna finally arrived back to Texas this week. It's one of the rear Murphy units. This particular unit right here is a unit that hopefully we can get out and use a little bit before it gets too cold up here in Indiana. The first one sat in our warehouse for about 60 days here in Elkhart, and we never got a chance to use it. We knew we needed to get it to Texas, so it shipped out there. So we do have one there. We'll have another Murphy bed that will be in Texas later on this week. So check out our website, pmcrv.com, for both of those units. This one right here, I guess if you really wanted it, you were more than welcome to come buy it before we get out and use it. So this is the twin bed, which is a little bit, it's a floor plan that is relatively popular with some of the other Sprinter-based units. The other company, Canadian-based unit, is probably kind of the premier B+ Class C unit. We won't mention their name, but similar type floor plan to it. So we're pretty excited that we brought this one in. That's kind of what I want in an RV, and basically a B+ C RV. It is a twin bed. It does have the bunk over as well, which is handy for additional sleeping. We'll kind of get into it more inside once I get out of the highway traffic noise, but let's cruise around the outside really quickly and kind of jump into it. So the chassis are still, as of right now, the 3.0 six-cylinder Mercedes, which is kind of their standard motor that they've run since 2007. They jumped from 2006 to 2007. Basically this body style, this engine. Previously it was the inline 5-cylinder. They made minor changes in the chassis in 2019. So a little bit sleeker headlight design, a little bit sleeker interior as well. So minor differences exterior wise. So solid white, which the color scheme for 24, you could get a solid gray or a solid white. I'm kind of a simple guy, so I preferred the solid white Tundra instead of the Polaris gray. Easier to keep clean, stay cooler as well. Very nice, robust baggage compartment. Outdoor TV, full-length Gerard awning. So around back here, you do have a little bit more simplistic cap on the back. So that is your sidewall, same as your sidewall. And then they do this just as a cosmetic piece to kind of tie everything in. If you did damage this, relatively easy to put in a box and be able to ship it versus a full rear cap. Plus it pulls a lot of weight off. The hitch itself, a lot of units, like I said, this is our first unit, so I was kind of shocked that it's 4,200 pound capacity, because most of these units get down to a 3,500 pound capacity. And from a guy that has been to a lot of different plants, most of these Sprinters are extended, and a lot of those you don't want to actually see how it's extended because it's kind of a mess. Renegade does a good job, and simply the fact that they put a 4,200 pound weight rating tells you a lot about what they do as a factory, of course the extension of the chassis as well. So nice clean wet bay, very easy to use. Everything is water jet into panel there, and it is all powder coated, so very easy to take and operate. This does have propane on board for your heat and water heater, and it has no generator on board. So we'll jump up here, kind of the exciting part of it. So there's a big 3,000 watt Xantrex inverter, and then we've got the showstopper, the monstrous 400 amp hour battery. So there's two of those, so you have 800 amp hour batteries on board, which is a ton for a unit of this size. It does have an additional belt driven alternator on board to be able to charge those, so there's a lot going on with that. As far as 800 amp hours, realistically what you could expect if you were running your air conditioner nonstop, you could easily get overnight. Probably, you couldn't get 2 full nights, but the idea would be to get some additional charges. Only a 330 watt solar panel up top and only a 30 amp controller. That's something we can easily upgrade and change out. And then you could, if you were really wanted to go for a little bit more, you could add a third battery in placement there, and a third battery would get you, several days being able to run the air conditioner nonstop. Of course, at this time of year right now, which is kind of what I choose, I kind of try to pick weather that I don't have to run the air conditioner a lot. Wouldn't be a problem to run this basically for quite some time, days in, days out, as long as you don't integrate the air conditioner. Of course, this does have a heat pump on board, so if you wanted to take and do that, just kind of seems counterintuitive. So TB, which I have very little experience, I'm gonna have to kind of jump into that, try to figure out more about that. So it is a Xantrex, but the batteries themselves are TBB. I can tell you about that much about them, other than they are 400 amp hours a piece. Not any kind of Bluetooth integration. Gonna there again try to do some more research, see if there's some add-on modules to kind of figure out what's going on with the battery. So happy to have it. I wish there was a little bit more in depth with the battery selection, be able to kind of figure out what's going on versus right now you got a small controller that looks like a child's game. So said bunk over here. Cab seats are factory cab seats, which, if you watch me on my big truck stuff, I say if the factory designed it, it's probably not broke. So it's nice just to have a nice factory cab seat. You don't have to change anything up. I really don't like when they add the RV seats, because they're generally junk in my opinion. They're just very uncomfortable. They don't sit very well. Somebody somewhere thought it would look fancy to be able to match the rest of the furniture, that it's generally not the highest grade furniture to begin with. So I'll jump around. The white and chrome is a good look to it. We do a lot of white units with black wheels. There again, probably wouldn't, in this particular age category, wouldn't do a lot of blackout packages, but if somebody wanted to take and change the wheels out or powder coat the wheels, something easily we can get done. So I wanted to kind of show you how much room we have indoors with the slide. Slam it, just get it done. It's still a really usable coach, and there again, that's what I'm looking for in an RV. I don't want to have to draw attention to myself. If we go into some small town and can't find a hotel, we travel with dogs quite a bit, can't find some place to stay, or if we just needed to overnight somewhere, or maybe we get somewhere and have 1 or 2 cocktails and decide we don't want to drive, basically you can use this without having to run the slide out, coupled with the lithium. So basically you'll have noise from your air conditioner, but you don't have the generator to draw a lot of attention to you. So this is still somewhat usable. I'm a little over 200 pounds, so I can still get to the refrigerator. I can slide in here. The only thing that might be somewhat difficult, I don't know if you can catch all this. So like if I was gonna brush my teeth, I would kind of have to get here and just kind of spit accordingly, because there's not a ton of room. I guess I can use that. I'm kind of a germaphobe, so I would rather use this to brush my teeth than that for washing my hands. But so very usable unit. These particular beds do basically convert, so this will take and flop all the way out, and that's kind of how we would keep the coach all the time. With our Rugrats, we would keep all the window shades down, have this laid out, and be able to keep this as a full-time bed. Like I said, let our monkeys kind of sleep in this area right here if we're out during the day. You do have the rooftop AC right here. It is a ducted unit, but if you are kind of like us, like a really, really cold environment, you could take and open this guy right here, and it wouldn't take long to get extremely cold back in this environment. There's not a true definition between the front and the back, but just the simple fact if you dump that right there, wouldn't be a problem to get down to the 50s, even in 90+ degree temperatures. So like I said, that's what I like about this floor plan. Very for anybody that wants to travel and not have to go to campgrounds. If you went into a Costco parking lot and said, just not bringing attention to yourself, not having to pull stuff in and out, up and down. Basically, I can make this up and I can sleep on it. I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the morning. Very nice sleeping area, because all I need is a place to sleep, sit down for just a few minutes. So we'll back up and get the slide out open, but I wanted to kind of show you how much room we have within it. I can step in here. Be careful. That will actually hit the edge of the slide, so I can still get in here. A little bit better idea of how much room we have here whenever the slide does open. But like I said, you can still get and brush your teeth. You might not be able to do that hair right there. But still a nice little area, nice setup. So this is the cashmere, which probably, you know, well, it is definitely kind of the #1 wood stain. In a very small environment, it makes everything feel a bit more open versus doing dark wood itself. But you know, they do a phenomenal job. So there again, for anybody that's watched me on my big truck stuff, a lot of what you would get on your higher end trucks is what you will get in the Vienna line. Whenever you compare that to, you know, some of their midline coaches like the Valencia and the Verona, you know, you don't get the quality of wood. So like all your drawers, they're all dovetail. They will do soft close, but you won't get any kind of dovetail until you get up into the LE, Verona LE, and that's $400,000+ MSRP. So you get a lot. Of course, you know, you get the soft touch vinyl, which I personally think as any quality coach should have soft touch vinyl. Easier to keep clean. You don't have to worry about, you know, the wallboard. You know, the issue with the wallboard, it looks cheap to me. It reminds me of a travel trailer. So very high-end finish for what it is. And this pricing category basically, you know, MSRP right about $200,000. And that's with the large lithium upgrade, generator delete. So definitely a fair amount of storage here, fair amount of space. If you're a relatively short person, it'd be nice to have your microwave down there versus up there. Just gives you more storage up top. Induction cooktop. So the 3,000 watt will essentially operate everything. You might run into some kind of limitation in regards to the air conditioner and your cooktop, but everything is pretty darn close to get to. So I could take and drop my air conditioner for a second or two while I was running that induction cooktop. So we'll kind of go over the floor plans and some of the numbers themselves. So this is basically a twin bed, so that'll be a TB. And anytime they have the bunk over itself, it'll end with a C, basically the cab over. So you basically have a full wall slide. You couple that with a C for the bunk over, and then you have the rear Murphy Lange, so the RML or the RMC for the cab over bunk. So if that kind of clears things up a little bit. They only have 3 floor plans, but like I said, for somebody that wants to do a lot of travel, this is kind of my go-to. But just there again, preference. Not a lot of room for entertainment, so you know, if it's just her and I, we're going to sit here and we're going to enjoy each other, and we're going to probably get back on our bicycles and go kind of get out and explore a little bit more. If you did have somebody, you know, if you had a third kid and you'd be able to stick them up in the bunk over, and you could as an adult slide up in that bunk over, just hope you don't have to go to the restroom too many times at night. So kind of open up just more cabinets just so you can kind of see everything. These are maybe a shin knocker. Don't get too close. And then the table itself, I gotta remember the very rear closet. I think that's the wrong unit. So anyway, we'll kind of so open up this dude right here. I do have some heat ducts, basically one there. I think that there is a heat duct. Nope, I take that back. So they don't do a subfloor on these, so basically you have a heat duct right there. So if you're in pretty darn cold environments, you might run into a little bit of an issue having a cold spot right here, but the vast majority of the heat would be back in your living area or your sleeping area right there. I don't know if you can catch any of this, but here is the TBB battery control, which is right here. I said I'll definitely do some more reading on this to kind of tell you what's going on in the way of amp draw. And there's no integration with the solar controller as far as I'm familiar with, but essentially there's not a lot of information there. I really want to know kind of state of charge, which this little dial over here gives you a rough idea of what your state of charge is. So I'll open up this guy right here, and you can, just a manual flusher. We're right over the top of the toilet, so it'll go straight down, and then I will jump into the shower. You kind of see how much room I have within the shower. So if I did have it closed, I could, if my butt touched the shower curtain, it wouldn't be the end of the earth. I might be stuck. I'll have to come throughout here. I'll have to call the fire department. You tell me. Is there any kind of clasp there?
No.
This might be one of the funnier videos.
You want to end here and we'll figure this out?
I'm gonna try it one more time.
Okay. Magnet is strong on that.
There's like a little latch right there, but it's not a very good design. I'm gonna try this one more time. And then that's a pretty, that's kind of a crappy design. So that's the reason why we like to go through these things at the factory, to be able to see things that we don't necessarily like. But this is definitely not going home in the next day or so. We'll leave it up here at the factory to have them change a few different things. We'll get it in our warehouse and then we'll get out and play with it. Hopefully we don't get stuck in the shower and have to call 911. It's always interesting. We'll come back here and I will take and pull this all the way out. Kind of see how this works out. And then each one of these cushions on the back essentially goes in here. So you can see, like I said, I'm 6 foot tall. Might be a little tight going from here to here. So I guess that's not too bad right there. By the time you add another dog or two, it gets relatively tight. But let's see about going side to side. I would probably go side to side to be able to have my head at the window and just have a little more room. It just makes sure that the person has to get up at night is on that side of the bed. I do like this, instead of having some type of piece that you have to go store somewhere. It kind of makes it nice that it's all one particular spot. And you do have a fair amount of room here. It's a little bit more full length drawer on this side. And some pretty good room there. And then a ton of storage. It's pretty impressive how much storage there is in this little guy right here. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of is just that smaller little sink right there, but the fact of having so much room and the fact that you can essentially use the unit without having to run a slide out makes it incredibly handy. So you do have one plug up top right here. You do have a single plug right there, which would be nice to have, basically, to integrate 2 USB plugs. I don't think there's any other plug on the wall, is there? Nope. But, that would be relatively easy for us to do an additional plug right here if you need to be able to plug 2 phones in. Of course, you got upper and lower, but I kind of like using the USB-C. There again, we could add, like a plug back over there in the corner as well. There's nothing overhead other than you do have one of the Firefly controls right here, so I can basically turn all the lights on and off. Here we go. There we go. So that'll turn them all on and off right there. Little kitchen, or closet right here, and this will take and pull out, so you basically have a full length cabinet right there. One thing we do need to find, the
check behind the couch. I know the toilet looks there.
Yeah, so the pole is back behind there. I'm a bigger fan of having like nice spots for everything. Not a fan of having something roll around back there. So maybe, just maybe nope. We will take and find that. Did I turn that off? We will take and try to find that to kind of solve the mystery, so to speak. But I guess that's just a simple lagoon table. So this is a little bit of mystery for us to figure out exactly where the table might be. If it's a mystery table, or if you have to upgrade and buy additional for table from there. Kind of scratched my head a little bit. Let me try one more spot. That is in place, so that's not the case. All right, here we go. I can tell you, I don't think we would ever pull this table out. I think if we were eating in here, we might just eat on our own, not have to worry about it. But it's here for somebody that wants it. It is below the bed itself there on the rear. So apologize for the little bit unorthodox video, but wanted to just do something quickly before we got back on the road, and kind of just give us our overall opinion of the Viennas themselves. We'll do another video once we get back to Texas on the other rear Murphy lounge that has the aero cap on it, but we're hoping that we can come back up here in November and get out and use this unit and kind of get a better feeling for things. Hopefully not get stuck in the shower as well. I'll do one more thing and then I'll let you guys go from here. So this does slide over like all the rest of the product, and that's kind of a two portion mattress that will kind of cover this up. But you know, a lot of people buy these not for the sleeping, but just to be able to put additional items up there. If you want to take all this stuff out, it's not a problem. Maybe I'll take everything out and just be able to, you know, keep it stored in another area. This table will come out, so if you need to be able to easily get between here and here, that lagoon table will just essentially slide up. Not a good spot for that, but I guess you could probably spit that underneath the cabinet there in the back. So few little heartaches you know, in the video, but always appreciate you guys coming out and watching these videos. Hopefully we don't have to have some crazy story about the shower, but we'll definitely kind of get that figured out, kind of get that cleaned up as well. But make sure you guys come out, enjoy the video again. I appreciate your time.